Hello! Okay, it's October, the month of Halloween, my favourite time of the year, and to celebrate Halloween this year, myself and my partner thought, well, let's just watch a horror movie for every night of the year. I'll choose one, he will choose one, and we'll pick from a variety of different types of horror film, whether it be science fiction horror, slasher, psychological, and I wanted to pick from a selection of films that I've just never really got around to watching before, or may have just seen bits of it. And one of those movies is Hellraiser from 1987, directed by Clive Barker. I'd seen bits of it as a child, and I remember being it creeped the fucking hell out of me as a kid. I was very, very young, and I think I only watched the first 20 minutes of it. And yeah, I can't remember how old I was, but I was very, very young when I first saw bits of Hellraiser. And I just never really got back to it. And I thought this year, to celebrate Halloween, let's actually watch it. We watched it on the 1st of October. I've got the first 3 films on Blu-ray. And yeah, I thought, let's do a review for the channel.
We have such sights to show you.
So, Hellraiser 1987. It's a British horror film written and directed by Clive Barker, and it's based on Barker's novella The Hellbound Heart. I've never read it. I really want to, just haven't got around to reading it yet. But it also marks Clive Barker's directorial debut. And the basic synopsis of the movie is a woman, Julia, discovers the newly resurrected, partially formed body of her brother-in-law, also her lover. She starts killing for him to revitalize his body so he can escape the demonic beings that are pursuing him after he escaped their sadistic underworld. So like I previously said, I've never seen this film before. In its entirety anyway. I was a child when I've seen the first, say, 10 to 20 minutes of the film, but this was the first time I'd watched it from start to finish, and I really enjoyed this film. It has that very British 80s horror movie vibe about it. It has that really sort of dirty, dark, gritty atmosphere about it that I just really dug. And also just really made me want to watch this in VHS. It just has that feel about it. The entire movie, for me, just felt like that I should be watching this on VHS. And that atmosphere is aided beautifully by the lighting, the set design, the sound effects. All of it together really helps create this sort of uneasy, creepy atmosphere. And I really dug it. Now, one of the major highlights for me watching this was the score. The music by a Christopher Young. It has this certain beautiful, dark elegance to it, reminding me of old classic horror or Hammer movies. And my favourite piece of music that actually accompanies my favourite scene in the film, I want to say, is the birth scene. I think they refer to it as being the birth scene. But the music in that scene is just beautiful. I fucking loved it. But the scene itself, and that kind of leads me nicely into the actual sort of the scene itself. The way that birth scene plays out. The special effects. Like, I really don't know how they done it. I want to say there was a lot of clay motion involved. I could be wrong, please correct me in the comments below, but I want to say there was a lot of clay motion. But the way the scene plays out, it is so well done and gross but beautiful and also elegant, and a lot of it is just helped by this majestic score by Christopher Young. I really dug it, and I think it was in that moment where Frank is just sort of fully forming, and he's just sort of screaming out in pain. I was on board. I thought, wow, this is like, I'm really liking this. I was just really mesmerized by this scene. It just the way it all came together, because I was thinking, how did they do that? But at the same time, it is very like, ugh, like, oh, you know, it was, you know it's not real, but you just sort of can't help but think, how did they do that? It's, yeah, loved it. I also really loved the use of lighting in the movie, and how the lighting would also be the sign of when the Cenobites were gonna appear. And yeah, I think, yeah, it's really dug the lighting and just how a lot of the horror was shot, and certain moments, like there's this one particular moment in the attic where Julia is feeding, she has to feed Frank basically so he can revitalize to fully form back into his human self. And there's this one moment where she basically gives him this human, and the way the camera is positioned as she's about to close the door and you can see Frank dragging himself across the floor to this body is just so creepy. But it's the way it's handled, it's the way the scene is shot, and the performances as well within this scene that really sell it for me. And I loved it. I really, like I said, I really fucking dug it. There's some really nice moments like that within this movie. Now, what I was surprised a little bit by how little the Cenobites are in it. You know, you've got Doug Bradley playing Pinhead. I mean, I've never seen the film up until now in its entirety, but over the years, you know, you kind of know that if you love film, you know, you're very aware of Pinhead, this sort of icon in horror, and just I was kind of sort of led to believe that perhaps he was going to be, or the Cenobites really were going to be in the movie a lot more than they actually were. That's not actually a negative from me, because I really enjoyed the story and what was going on and their involvement in that story, and I could see what I felt like I could see what they were doing, which was really sort of setting up for a further movie. You know, this was a lot of sort of world building in a way, or just setting us up ready for that sequel. I don't think the performances are stellar, but they do the job. I thought they were pretty solid all around. Claire Higgins as a Julia Cotton, one of our lead characters, she really helps sell the horror and just the circumstances that this character is going through. Her performance is very real. You've also got Andrew Robertson as her husband, Larry Cotton, and I kind of liked his journey through the film and how he portrayed this character and a certain thing that happens to the character at the end. I just thought he handled very well. And obviously you've got Doug Bradley as Pinhead. He is great. As I previously said, he hasn't really got a massive part in the movie. I think it's probably 5 minutes in total, but when he is on the screen, along with the makeup and just how he sort of comes across, very powerful. I liked it. So yeah, Hellraiser 1987 was a pleasant surprise for me. I just wished I'd watched this a lot earlier, because I just really liked it. I really enjoyed it. I haven't seen any of the sequels yet. I will be watching Hellraiser 2 soon, whether that be within the month of October, I don't know. But we've got a lot of films to watch still. But Hellraiser was the first day, and yes, I really enjoyed it. I really liked it. So many elements, how all those elements came together with the music, the sound effects, the lighting. But at the same time, it also has that very low budget British horror feel about it. Yet, when you're watching it, you can't help but be mesmerized by what they are actually achieving and what they're doing. That sort of really sums up my experience of this movie, and also it just makes me really want to watch it on VHS. I felt like this kind of film should really be experienced on that format, and I think there's a lot of films like that for me, mainly with horror, but I do think Hellraiser belongs on VHS. Whether that's because of nostalgia and I grew up with that format, I don't know. But VHS sort of helps really kind of elevate that grittiness and that sort of dark, gritty atmosphere that I was referring to earlier on. So yeah, they are my thoughts on Hellraiser 1987. I'm looking forward to seeing the Hulu reboot, I think it is, and I will bring a review for that as well. But yeah, I will be giving Hellraiser 1987 an 8.5 out of 10. So yeah, they are my thoughts on Hellraiser 1987. Please let me know what your thoughts are below and let's get a discussion going. My next review should be Halloween Ends. I watched it the other night, so yeah, I'm looking forward to bringing you guys my thoughts on the conclusion to the 2018 Halloween movie that I really liked. Thanks for watching, and if you want to see future reviews and just general movie talk from a geek in Wales, then please hit the subscribe button. It will mean an awful lot to me. And yeah, I'll be seeing you soon.